All right, y'all. Welcome. My name's Corinne. I am with Soul Shift Channeling, and we are at beautiful Baywitch tonight to talk about and learn about the energetic body. So I'll give you a little bit of a overview of what we're going to do and what to expect, and then we'll go from there. Basically, we'll start with a guided meditation to kind of get us all in the zone, feeling good and grounded and present and just more at ease. Thank you. Everyone has picked out a quartz crystal. This is something that we're going to try out this time, and I'd love to hear your feedback about it after and see what comes with you. You can absolutely program crystals, and crystals are beautiful, like almost like ways to store information, little books that you can write in. So we'll have a lot of information coming in tonight, and my hope is that with bringing this crystal through the experience with each of you individually, it can kind of help in the shifts and energetic transformations, all the information that comes through, and just kind of be a touchstone reminder after the fact as well. But yeah, after the guided meditation, I will open the Akashic records. So the Akashic records are an energetic store of information that spans all time and space. We each have our own individual Akashic record, and when I do readings with people, I open people's individual Akashic records and get information from their soul point. But what we're going to be doing tonight is working with Akasha, which is, in my mind, the overarching or unoverarching record that has a really beautiful elevated view that can give us a lot of perspective that we might be looking for tonight. So once I open this, I'll say a short blessing, and then I'll get some imagery, and a lot of times metaphor. A lot of what comes through is imagery, or I'll hear things, and a lot of metaphor comes through, so I'll share that with you guys. But from there, the rest of the event, which is going to be about an hour to an hour and a half, is just entirely based on questions that you guys have, or questions you guys bring to the table. So don't be shy. The theme of the evening is the energetic body. So anything in relation to this, whether it's how to work with the energetic body, what about chakras, what about energy work, energy healing, long distance versus in person. I mean, that's what comes to my mind, but whatever comes to y'all's mind. I do ask that you keep it group-minded and group-focused. I'm happy to do personal readings with you guys at any point in time outside of this evening. And I'm working to get discount codes, so that'll be a fun thing. But yeah, just keep it group-minded, I guess, is the only request I have. And other than that, I think that's it. I'll close the records probably about 7:30. And then you'll have this crystal to take with you, and we'll kind of feel out the end of it all together. Does anyone have any questions, comments, cries of shock or outrage? Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna pick a crystal too. Let's just dive in. So I want everyone to close your eyes and just kind of relax your body. Move your body around a little bit if that feels comfortable. And just kind of get to know the space that you're sitting. Feel into your spine and trace your energy all the way down to your hips, to your knees, and to your feet and heels. Feel any of the crazy energy of the day or calm energy of the day. Just allow it to wash away. And just come back to your body with a few deep breaths. As I invite you into this space, letting anything What's calling your attention that doesn't need your attention to just kind of flutter away. And feeling into the soles of your feet. Feeling the earth beneath you. And the presence that's holding you in space right now. Allowing your body and your mind to relax. Knowing that you're right where you need to be. You're infinitely held. And there's space for your mind to expand in this experience. Go ahead and take a couple of deep breaths. Every exhale, releasing a little bit more. Every inhale helping you to more clearly find your center. And when you're ready, I invite you back to open your eyes. Feeling peaceful and calm. I'm ready to see what's in store. All right. How's everyone feeling? Well then, okay. I'll go ahead and open the records. And yeah, consider a question you'd like to ask or two. Get started. My center with your center, our center with all centers, our center is the one center. I enter the realm of masters, teachers, and loved ones of Akasha, keeper of the light, and match our hearts and minds with theirs. Let us find through joy and wisdom the ability to open the universe and ourselves to greater possibility and deeper love. Eternal source, fill our hearts with clarity and sacred power, and show us Akasha's place of balance. Hear us now as we become one with the whole. When we are complete, release us in love and admiration, keeping our energy raised. The records are open. Okie doke. The sensation that I got was more of a sensation than an image. And it's like, if you think of like a shower head, but one that is like a tassel, like the streams of water are like tassel strings almost. And it's almost like I can feel this across the top of my forehead and face. I feel like there's, the tassel strings are red. It is edged in gold. And it feels almost like this, it's giving me like kind of 20s flapper-ish vibes, as well as kind of like a shower of information, so to speak. But it's not water. It's very clear that it's not water, that it is just energetic squiggles. And then the next thing I got was just like a big pile of dough in the middle of our space. And it's like we're all kind of circled around the space and taking up parts of this dough and kneading something into it. And I get the sense that there's going to be, although we're working with the same dough, the artistry and the creation that we bring to the experience is going to be a little bit different. We each are like making different sorts of pastries, even though it's like the same dough to begin with, you know? And it's almost like that craft market of, you can have everyone working with clay, right? But people can turn clay into so many different kinds of vessels, different glazes can go on it. I mean, it's like you can start with the same thing, but it's so varied what comes out of it. So those are the two images that I got for tonight, which is curious because I can't entirely make sense of the first, but who knows, maybe it'll come back in later on, which it usually does. It always finds a way to come full circle. So now the floor is open for questions. A lot of times the way that the information comes through is very quick, and then it's very silent. And that is a signal that the floor is open and you can go ahead and ask another question. Would anyone like to start us off?
How big is an energetic body for a person?
Yeah, okay. I'm feeling like it is much bigger than a person. It feels like it is 3 people tall, but it's centered around, it doesn't just go up from our feet, you know? Mm-hmm. It feels like it extends a little bit further above than below us. But I hear like 3 people tall, like however tall you are, 3 of you tall, but pulled down a little bit, and 2 people wide. They're saying it's egg-shaped. Although there are different shapes, I'm seeing like the boundaries and edges for different people have different shapes. And part of the importance of this is the connections of 2 energetic bodies connecting. I kind of see them like, some of the edges seem like puzzle pieces where you like meet another person and you just know how to jive and click with each other. Mm-hmm. This is a result of your energetic bodies. I get the sense that they're malleable, that they can be changed and reformed. But sometimes you meet people and it's like you're even walking down the street and it just like it clicks, like you just line up in quite the right way, like the edges of your energetic bodies line up the right way. This is the importance of allowing enough space between us, because if we are too close to one another, our energy bodies become a little confused. They don't know how to transfer information between the 2 of them. This is part of the value I'm hearing of, when COVID hit and everyone was like 6 feet, 6 feet, 6 feet. But this is bringing some attention to an awareness around our energetic exposure to other energy bodies. Because having an awareness of your energy body, or at least being in tune with your energy body, you can feel this connection more or less easily when you're further from someone. Not further away like football fields. If you're really in tune, you can communicate across like a football field. But if you're in tune with your energetic body, you can feel the flow of energy between you and another person a lot more clearly if you have more physical space and distance, because you don't have someone else's energy touching. I almost see it as like a concentrated haze, like it's more concentrated around the person, around ourselves, and it is more effervescent at the edges of it. Does this make sense? Yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yeah. It just kind of turns on and turns off. And sometimes it's like that took a detour where there's other stuff thrown in there too.
Mm-hmm. What is the most efficient way to balance and expand our energy body?
I'm feeling the need to contract an energy body, and that this is one of the best ways we can expand our energy bodies, is to call all of our particles home to us first and then to re-release them, kind of like from a hive. Like if we are a beehive, I see this need to have quarterly meetings, so to speak, where you recall all the worker bees, because there are some parts of your energy body that go much further out, it seems like, than your actual shape, like the size and shape of your, what we would consider an energy body, because some feel like I'm feeling some kind of like with a beehive where the drones or even some of the worker bees will go out very far. I feel parts of ourselves can become we can be given to other people or can be sent to places, can be attached to spaces. But the most important part in reworking and reforming our energy body is calling everyone home. From this point, when everyone is back in the hive, so to speak, it is like we all are able to see each other and conceptualize what it is we are trying to do and accomplish as individual energy particles. This is important because our environments, our themes, our support changes over time. It's also valuable because the roles we play change over time as well. Some energy particles don't make it or die off, are recycled naturally. It feels very much like, you know how they always say, like, you know, you shed a lot of skin cells or something and your skin is always regenerating or something like that. It feels the same with energy particles of the energy body, where there is a sort of not necessarily purging and not necessarily recycling process, but a sloughing, a natural cycle of needing to retire and to be reshifted, reshaped, and reformed again. I forgot exactly what track we were on. Can you ask your question again? You were asking about
The most efficient way to, I guess, expand and work with our energy bodies.
Yeah. This contraction, they're showing me also kind of like Big Bang energy or something with the cosmos, where isn't it something where it's like it contracts before it as part of the expansion? There's something of like, and now I'm seeing that thing too, that's such a fun toy. It's like that plastic toy with all the zigzags that you can make it, it's a sphere and you can make it much larger or much smaller. But there's this concept that contracting is what informs the expansion. And that the more often we are able to do this, and I see people practicing this daily in some cases, that would be like a very, how do you say, like swole energetic experience. Someone who calls all their energy into them on the daily is someone who has extreme command over their energy body, I'm hearing. But even if you did this weekly or monthly or quarterly, as they suggest, it is a way to reshape your inhabiting the world. This will allow us to, because it's important, because it's like all the different particles. It's not even like a hierarchical thing. It doesn't feel like there's an overarching order. That it doesn't feel hierarchical. It feels very like communal based, where like each of these particles has an equal presence, or it's like a group working something out amongst themselves. And there's this ability to perceive need, to perceive what shifts need to happen. This allows us to more accurately, I'm hearing, feather the edges of our energy bodies so that they can grasp and clasp other energy sources, other energy bodies, but also like the inanimate, the quote unquote inanimate reality around us. Yeah.
How you practice the contraction of the energy.
Yeah. I'm hearing like, do you know this? There's like this, I feel like they say this in Nordic places of like, ollie ollie oxen free, or like, you know, on the Ricola commercial, there's like this very long, it feels very Scandinavian, like horn almost, and they like blow the horn, it's like, doo-doo, it's this like calling, and I get the sense that we each have it's I'm hearing it's as infinite as shepherds and sheep. You know how each shepherd is going to have their own, I don't know if shepherd's called a sheep, but each shepherd or cattle herder or steward of a group is going to have their own personal call or voice, their own relationship. And this is something that is built up by asking your energetic body, what is the best way you connect to home? For some of us, this is through music. It is through a song that you feel that you can just, it's like you can feel more parts of you coming. It's like that pump up song that you have, right? Where it's like you feel like you're invincible at the end of it. And I'm feeling like there's this anything that, and for some people I'm feeling like movement and flow of like dancing and stretching your body, just this almost like joyous collecting of self that comes back in. I don't think it always has to be in meditation. I'm hearing like some hardcore junkies are like meditation only, you know. It feels as infinite as the thumbprints that we have. But for many, it feels like an energetic physical call, almost like a vocal call inside of you where you can, I think this, they're saying this also connects to, you can find and develop your own experience over time, but beginning with a verbal call is one that does a few things. It, number one, celebrates your autonomy and your sovereignty as an individual, claiming stake, like claiming your stake. There's something about like the expression of will that comes with creating sound that is important. But for many people, and I'm seeing like someone painting, for many people, like they claim their space in different ways. I would start with like a verbal, energetic calling out.
Like an affirmation?
Like an affirmation. It almost feels like a call. An affirmation feels like it has this energy of affirming a reality. This has the energy of it's more powerful than a request. But not an affirmation. I feel like is sealing the lid on the jar when you have all the fireflies in it. Of an affirmation of I own my energetic body. I hold my energetic body. I keep my energetic body. I share my energetic body. That these are things that you would say only once you called it back, as in, no, they don't even want to give examples. I feel like it's something that we have to find for ourselves, to be honest. Because it's also this sort of finding the clues, tussling with this builds a couple of things. And I wouldn't be surprised if they gave this information to us at a different point in time. Sometimes I find that certain informations are restricted because we should be doing certain things or because they want to lead us through certain places or stuff like this. I have the feeling that kind of tussling with this is what will develop our ability to have an internal dialogue with and about our energetic body. Yeah. Yeah, do report back to the class all if you guys practice and try these things, and I would love to hear your experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do you protect your energetic body?
Brilliant. I hear that there's a healthy dose of immunity that comes with an energetic body, but this, and I love the, like, just like honey of this concept of calling your energetic body back to the hive is important because it informs your immunity. Kind of like how we can, like if a hive is centrally located and the bees go get the honey or no, they don't get the honey. They go pollinate flowers and collect pollen, right? And nectar. And it's this smattering of sampling from the environment that informs what's produced at the hive. This is the same thing. Parts of our energetic body particles are sampling from the environment. And this is part of the important connection of keeping a healthy energy body, is taking the feedback on a semi-regular basis, right? Because if we are existing in a space and we don't check in with our energetic body, we don't pull all the parts of us back in, we don't have an awareness of like, are the tendrils, are the edges of my energetic body getting singed? Are they getting damaged? What's going on? Like, there's no concept of what information is returning to us. It can effervesce back to us, just like I'm seeing like sound can travel through air, right? And it's not like there is a single sound particle that's traveling the whole space. It's really just a bunch of particles moving into each other and bumping each other and passing a wave along. You know, it's like if someone puts a jump rope on the ground and does like this, the wave travels, but each piece of rope kind of stays where it normally is. Same thing with our energetic body, unless we're kind of calling it in. And I feel like calling it in, I don't think is necessarily condensing it all the way. I feel like it's just actively collecting information from the very outer edges. But doing this and getting that information, because it's bringing all these energy particles to the same place, or at least in communion with each other, I feel there's this self-balancing that happens of like, I see them, there's like an intelligence that exists in the energetic body in and of itself, outside of our physical or mental perception. Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then they reshape because there is a healthy immunity that happens. Now, this is not, you can foster a healthy immunity, and this is not separate from damage falling upon your energetic body. And I'm seeing like a crack or it feels like a big, like a crack where something can get in and it feels drafty, like at the back of my neck, you know, when it's kind of get that cold. This is where we have the ability to wield our energetic bodies from I feel our human bodies are kind of like control panels. It's like we have this joystick in our mind of our intention being able to shift and move our energetic body experience. This is where we can fill in the cracks, and there is an importance of when there is damage to begin at the very core of self when making a repair, or when I hear adding immunity, or, you know, when you're like, it's like taking a pill and treating something from the inside out, using our mind to repair the energetic body from the inside out. Because I'm seeing, like, if there is an actual, like if this is the energetic body and there's like a rift here and it kind of goes towards the heart, the important part is to center the mind and to come to the place where it feels like everything's all well and there's wholeness, and to expand out until you hit the edge of that and you're like, oh, this is where it starts. And then it's important to bring, I'm hearing like loving light or crystals, or your tool of choice, whether it's a salve or whatever it is that you picture to bring it from the inside, but grow it from the inside out. That way there's none of this, because if you go from the outside in, then you trap whatever's, it's not like that space is a vacuum, you know? It feels like there is very important to not close in the wound. This is something that came up, I feel like, a little bit last time of like, you cover the wound if you're in an emergency situation, but if you're really treating a wound, it's important to really kind of like grow it from the inside out, to flush it from the inside out, because if there's stuff that we don't want things festering, that's not the way that we need to do it anymore, because there's futuristic technology. Like even the wound thing is a little bit out of date for what we are capable of when it comes to our energetic bodies. But there is an importance of kind of like flushing the system with more of yourself. And if you feel like you don't have any more of yourself to flush into your system, choose wisely what you want to flush that space with. I'm hearing like amethyst is a beautiful, and I know that is a nice crystal for healing a lot of things, and just, yeah, that would be a good one. But just like choose high up off the shelf of, I see the sign up here, potions and elixirs. Choose high up off the shelf, like choose top shelf ingredients when you're doing that kind of repair. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. As opposed to like some salve that your friend made that you have no idea really. It's not the time to test out new things when you're repairing the energetic body. Does this make sense? Does that answer your question? Yeah.
When you say, trying to pull your energy back, is there a way to tell that parts of those are damaged, or is this done like by intention? Like if you're bringing back your energy, are you going to say, I want to bring back the good energy, or, how is that kind of done?
Great question. You need to call back all of it. That feels very important, that even the damaged stuff you want to call back in home. And it's weird. I'm trying to like entirely understand and convey this. It feels like, okay, if like each of the energy, if there are like particles that make up your energy body, it's almost like, it's like Congress, right? They can convene for something, but there are times that Congress will convene and not everyone is physically present, but they mail in their ballots. They not mail in their ballots, but they send in their district information and stuff like that. It feels a lot like that. Like everyone is represented, and you do want to have everyone represented. So yes, so definitely call in the whole army, but there is this level of safety of like, you're not going to necessarily, you're calling in important information of damage, but it's not like you are necessarily inviting it's not like you're inviting the rot into the heart of the hive. But even as I want to say this, there's showing me, I feel like it's super nuanced. Say your question again.
When you're bringing back your energy, talking about like, do you want to just bring back the positive, or like you were saying, bring in all the damage, but not actually like bringing in like the negativity back from that energy?
Yeah.
And kind of how you can tell what part of your energy needs to be healed by the.
Yeah.
Is it done by intention or?
Yeah. It's more powerful if it's directed by intention. The important thing though, and this like asterisk caveat, is that the intention is the most powerful if it's aligned with your like soul path, soul mission. Like you can't necessarily drop directions in there that the foundation doesn't support, if your soul's been building your whole life and your whole experience up until this time to create wealth, right? And then all of a sudden you drop in other directions that kind of counteract that and are like, well, I want to destroy wealth. Like it won't stick, you know what I mean? So there has to be some sort of alignment there. I'm feeling like when calling information in, if we're calling information in, because I feel like there is a sort of mesic communication that happens all along with the energetic body, but us bringing our consciousness and awareness to these meetings, so to speak, is kind of new. It's like, I don't know. They're saying it's like the Speaker of the House, right? It's like the Speaker of the House is, I'm pretty sure, a member of the House, right? But there's some way like they are representing. It's like they are taking almost a hierarchical stance or a hierarchical charge of a meeting or of the group convening, and that's what intentionally calling your energetic body back together does. I'm seeing now that the place that this meeting naturally will take place or will meet is at the place that's closest to the heart of you, that is pure and balanced. Like if we're talking about a wholeness of self, and then like a wound that comes into comes to a certain depth. I don't think that meeting, so to speak, is going to take place much deeper than the depth of wounding. Does that make sense? It's not the space where energetic particles convene is not going to be much closer to the heart of self than is safe for the energetic body. And it's important, I guess, that we support this, because I almost see, if we're not quite balanced, taking the energetic body, like calling everything back to the hive, so to speak, and holding that at the heart of us can sometimes plant seeds of doubt, or plant some of the bad things from the edges, like you were saying. I think there's something to be said for learning from our energetic bodies. This is feeling like way more, I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but this is feeling like way more complex and nuanced than I think I had anticipated. So there's this concept of needing to learn. I think that it's just so different for each of us. I think the challenge here is I'm feeling that there are some humans that this is not a problem for at all, that like, call it back, it's totally fine, like, the light overpowers the dark at every, and the light and the dark are both within us. They're both important, and they both inform our growth and experience and existence. But then I'm seeing that I don't want this information to get to humans who are not feeling quite as balanced in that, who are feeling quite torn apart and quite, I hear, riddled with doubt, or just like their energetic spaces feel like Swiss cheese. And it's almost like if you have an immunocompromised person, you don't necessarily want to be pulling in germ structures, pulling in their outside world to their inside world. You know what I mean? So there's this sort of balance, and this is where I think if there's concern around like, am I energetically immunocompromised, there's this safety and almost like calling in the doctor, but like calling in your higher self, or calling in guides. I'm hearing guides are like the doctors of the energetic body, of calling them in and saying like, I'm calling this space to you, like, please inform and direct this convalescence as needed. And that's especially, like, we can all do that. I'm hearing that, do you guys know those little Tamagotchi toys? It's like the keychains that are, like, it's like taking your little Tamagotchi to the doctor, it's something that you do. I don't know why it has to be Tamagotchi, but anyway, here we are. it's good to do even if you're healthy every once in a while, because there's always that guide has and it just like feels very bright white yellow color, like there is an attunement and a cleansing and just a healing beyond our mindset and capacity at this point in time. Does this make sense? I feel like that was not necessarily the clearest answer, but I think this is a call to like really pull us into relationship with our energetic bodies, because I feel like it's super nuanced and it's also quite powerful, but it's that kind of power of like almost like herbal tinctures, right? They can be super powerful, but they are more energetically rooted in physicality. And I think that's where we are retraining our nervous systems and our sensory awareness to tune into that more subtle shift. Because it's not like, oh, if I'm vomiting, I stop vomiting if I take something. It's like gradually changing levels of nausea, or you know what I mean? It feels very subtle and nuanced. Yeah. This is wild. Yeah. How's everyone feeling? I'm getting my mind blown a little bit, but I'm hoping that it's coming through. I want this information to come through clearly. So if it's not hitting clearly.
So this is something we would do, I mean, we would feel this, or this is something we just need to do as a practice? I mean, as a like routine checkup type?
Very much routine checkup. And I think that feeling it is something that develops over time. I think everyone has a different sensitivity. And I think it also interacts with people's like different energetic magics. Like I feel like I bring up often of like some people are very earth magic-y, right? And very like rooted and grounded in physical space. Their energetic bodies are also going to be rooted into that space. So it might feel and seem a little bit different to that person than someone who has a fluidity and more motion in themselves. I see this being like super different for everyone, but the importance of developing a practice. And it's not like something that like you're screwed if you don't develop a practice, you know. I definitely don't get that because it feels very subtle. However, if you have an interest in commanding your energetic realm, it's absolutely something you should do 100%. Because if you're looking to make use of your energetic body, you have to train it up. I'm seeing, are you guys familiar with the movie Avatar? Mm-hmm. The one with the blue people, the cartoon. It's the scientists they have their avatars, right? They have these like virtual reality bodies almost, but they're physical bodies. That they have to like, they're like a foal that was just born at first. Like they're all limbs, you know, it's like very unwieldy. They're knocking stuff over. There's not a lot of precision. There's not a lot of accuracy. And yet if you are able to build a relationship and kind of take command of your energetic body, which I get the sense that it's meant to be utilized, right? It's kind of like a tool that is sitting there and will kind of like keep itself as healthy as it can over time until it gets its marching orders, right? This is part of our new evolution on the planet. As we become bored with our physical space and reality, and we are called to a higher experience and expression of energetic self, which I'm hearing like it's very much time to. We have created massive development in physical plane space, and it's time to start dipping our feet in the water of the energetic realm. I get the sense that the more we work with that energetic realm, the more we will become aware of all that it holds. I think this is this concept of like an energetic reality on top of our physical reality that we don't entirely understand or can touch or see. I feel as though if we connect with our energetic body more, we will begin to be able to use additional inputs that it's collecting that we are only passively or subconsciously working with. It's truly like becoming fully aware of your subconscious self. I don't know if it's exactly the same as our subconscious self, because there feels like a very Freudian, like developmentally gooey space that inhabits part of the subconscious, but I feel like the energetic body is infused in the subconscious and is another way to kind of pull it apart and to work with it, and is one that can kind of stretch that canvas very wide so we can see it more clearly. It's this same concept that came up last time where we were talking about a pigment, right? And if something is very condensed, it can look like black or dark blue. But if you like stretch it out, it is actually much thinner. And it's like perhaps a very light color blue. It was just very condensed and and it's overwhelming because you're like, I don't know what this is. This is a blob. But it's like if you have a delicate chain that is in a knot, one of the best things to do is to lay it on a thing and take some safety pins and kind of pull the knot, not necessarily undo it, but pull the edges to spread it out a little bit more. You know what I mean? So then you can see the patterns, that over, under, in and out part of it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So this is absolutely something that behooves us if we are interested in doing traumatic work and work in the subconscious realm where we want to have an energetic autonomy over it. There is absolutely the practice of others working with our energetic bodies to help us become aware of it. This is the same thing as like when I do readings with people, it's like I will say things and this is a truth that they already have in their body, but they are seeing through someone else's eyes. And that external validation is like, whoa, okay. It's the same thing of when you have an energetic practitioner, they are working with your energetic body and you already have these awarenesses. I don't think there's no way to separate our energetic bodies from our physical experiences. Even when we are dissociated, even when we are in the depths of physical trauma, we are still connected with our energetic body, even if it is a chemtrail of like a jet of where our energetic body went to, or I mean, it's still there. It's still there. There is never an experience where the energetic body is out of the physical body. It's not how it works. It's not how it works because our life is in our energetic body. When we return to source, it is our energetic body that leaves us. That is how you can tell if you've seen the light go from someone's eyes. Their energetic body have shifted. Even then, there is a chemtrail, for lack of like the trails that follow the planes in the sky, right? The planes are not there, but you can see where they've been. There's like a historical presence, a present presence of a historical inhabiting that happens. this is why energetic bodies can revisit and touch and be very close to their physical body, but they are not necessarily in it. There's still that like historical tie. So taking a left turn. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I know it was about something different. I think it was about something different. And I think we answered it, but I know that it just like kept going to other things.
I think it was a great path.
Does it feel complete? Does that answer though feel?
It does. I guess I had a follow-up question.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if I am sending my spirit counsel out to help family members and to help,
Brilliant. Yeah.
is my energy with that? So when I call it back in, like, how do I make sure that
You're not leaving them high and dry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful, brilliant question. I love this. There is a consent that happens when your energy is received by another energetic body. Caveat being, you can totally send your energetic troops out and they can be not received, and you'll probably feel it if you have an awareness of this, right? Sometimes you don't feel it, or, sometimes we don't have perceptions of like energetic parts of others knocking at our energetic door, because our energetic body runs itself, and it has to, and it needs to, and it does so because that's what it was set up to do, because we are in a physical world, and this is our not our primary experience. I think that's shifting. I think it used to be, I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's a major part of our experience, this physical world. When it works though, like, there's no, like, it's like not good magic when, and it takes, again, a knowingness of one's own energetic body to send your energetic troops into another space that is not willing to receive it. It's not something that someone can really do by accident. It takes knowing the energetic body and having a relationship and developing it, and it's not natural. It does not flow that way as it should, and so it is very hard to sustain, and it is not important, really. I don't know why we're going over this then. That being said, the majority of our experience, the vast majority, 98% of our energetic body interactions at this point in time, which time is relative, is what I'm getting a little bit also here, or it's non-existent or folds on itself or something like this. Our energy is received by another energetic body. And this also feels like it's kind of negotiated up here with like soul ties, soul contracts, like predestined agreements, stuff like that, which is, again, why it's important to bring your energetic body back into home, because it's like, maybe you tied up this energetic agreement. You wouldn't know, only by the part of your body that is interacting with another person's energetic body, they're doing the interactions, unless you're having a physical interaction with them that exactly mirrors that, which even then, our physical realities and our energetic realities don't always match. We are striving to create alignment in that, so that way I can say something to you and my energy is also saying the same thing. But I think we've all been in those situations where it's like, this person's telling me this, but I'm getting a different vibe. You know what I mean? Yeah. So consent is a big part of it. And there is this concept of like, if energy needs to stay in a particular place, that's when they, not mail in their ballot, but like mail in their, it'll send in its information and maintain energetic presence. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also this time of like planned absences, because it is really important, like someone's energetic body who's needing support, who's receiving support, and we all do at all times, like are supported and are supporting. because it's not even just other people's energy bodies. It is like, I'm hearing like even ideas, thoughts, and beliefs and collective consciousness are energy bodies support or pull down, right? Are actively creating or dismantling, right? This is the whole concept of like our work in collective consciousness of like, man, I'm really feeling this in the consciousness right now or something like that, because our energy bodies touch this, as well as like maintaining our homes, maintaining our cars, like everything has energetic presence. It's just not always directed in the same way, form, or fashion. We have a very active connection and tie with our energetic bodies because we have a creation of intelligence in a way, and each animal and living, it's just, they all have like different cycles and different longevities to like, and different activeness in their energetic bodies. But there is this concept of consent to recall. Like if I have an energetic body that's being supported by your energetic body, and your energetic body needs to connect back to self, that benefits mine no matter what somehow, because whether it's left unsupported for those moments, that is information that this energetic body needs to collect also, of like how much it's important to know how much support am I receiving and what is it actually doing for me. You know what I mean? It's almost like you may not know how much you can do for yourself until support goes on hiatus for a second. You know what I mean? Of like, oh, if someone's making your lunch every day because making lunch just feels like it's too much for you to bear in those moments and times, and they're like, well, I'm sick, I can't come today. And then you're like, okay, I can make a peanut butter and jelly. And you're like, wow, this is really easy. I don't need this. That is beneficial to that energetic body because it's teaching them, it's a reminder of autonomy and sovereignty. Does that make sense? And then there's also this concept of like time is fuzzy, because I think it can happen in an instant, you know, and it's almost like it's not, a blip like that is not noticed. And at the same time, like I feel this like fuzziness of like support bleeding into the space of not support, right? Of like if you're receiving, it's not just like 0, 1, on, off. It like if support fades away, some of the support that existed before and that will exist again are like bleeding in to fill that space. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is important. It's expected. I get that it's not necessarily the natural rhythm of things to be calling our energy bodies back, but it's the sort of practice that if we need to do this to become aware of it, it's a way that we can do that. We don't always have to call it back in. I just feel like that's really important at this point in time because things are changing and we need to know that it's happening with some regularity. I feel that we have lost this. It's that sort of thing of like, I don't know, it's like if you've never brushed your teeth before and you need to like remind yourself or teach yourself to brush your teeth twice a day. At first you like really, like if you have kids, like you have to really remind them like, okay, we're brushing our teeth now. Like this is what we're doing. And then before you know it, it's like, it's habit, rhythm, it runs in the background. You don't even think about it anymore because automatically, like whenever I shower, I brush my teeth, or whenever I get up in the morning, I brush my teeth. It's a sort of like energetic health that's like breathing in a way almost, you know, almost like breathing, you know?
Yeah.
I get the sense that it was more habitual and regular, but there is, for many, there's a pushing away, a divestment in the energetic body that has been experienced as we have become drawn quite deep into the surroundings that are around us, just needs a little more of our attention to be revived. Yeah.
A question with a backstory.
Yeah. Yeah. Bring it on.
We went to this event where they had this interesting tool where on our fingerprints they measured our aura and the chakras and how they align and how big or small they are. So from what they explained to us, so if it's too small, it's not too good. If a chakra is too small, or if it's too big, it's not good either. And then some people, like, they'll have it almost in line, but some will be like very pull apart. Like, my question is, what is that pulling apart depends on, and what makes it small or big, and how to keep it in that right, right size, I guess.
Yeah. I'm definitely getting more of a pull towards the size of, I'm seeing pain is what will close these energetic portals, because it is, if certain parts of these, and I'm hearing a trauma, like especially like sexual trauma, this is a great example, and it doesn't have to be the only one. Like, it could be trauma around using your voice, right? If you are punished for using your voice, that voice is going, that energetic return or response from environment, it's not even just the response from the environment, but perhaps how your energetic body receives it. Because I'm seeing a lot of capability in our consent and will, like how we are willing to take a response is what informs that widening or closing as well. But I'm seeing that these centers will close to traffic if it is too painful, if it is too much, if it is bad. And it really is self-preservation. It does it for a reason, and it's a good reason too, because if you have a lot of painfulness coming in, it's like, whoa, like, slow down, one at a time, because pain is information, and it is valuable information. It is very important for us to not receive pain for the sake of getting pain off the market, but the pain with our name on it, right? That's that we are experiencing, that's set for us to experience. It's important that we don't deny that energy. We don't always have to label it as pain. We can relabel it, reconceptualize it. We can divert it to different groups. We can have different parts of this pain, this information, inform parts of our energetic body, parts of our belief systems, parts of our memories, all sorts of things like this. And it's super valuable, but if you're getting flooded and like your systems and like your internal networks, like these, your belief systems, your memories, your ability to show up in the world, like, I don't know, all these different like energetic groups or these entities, if they're threatening to shut down because of an influx of pain, like, that's why that door narrows, because that is far more catastrophic than a slightly smaller sacral chakra, you know what I mean? Or even an extremely smaller sacral chakra. The challenge is that we don't always remember to stay active with this, because if we allow passivity to rule, we aren't, and by we I'm saying like parts of our perception are not constantly monitoring what's coming in through that flow. If we stop checking to see if there's still a line out the door, right? Or if the stuff coming in is painful, or if it's good or enjoyable, or, then you kind of just have like a 5-lane highway down to 1 lane, you know, that's not helpful at all. Sorry, I just got distracted for one moment. Does this make sense on like the opening and closing? It's
What
important.
makes it big? Because they said that the big chakra is not good either.
Yeah.
Why is that, and what makes it big?
I'm feeling that like yearningness for that energetic inflow will make it big. It's like your pupils dilating because they can't see light. If there is something not wrong, something out of balance, it's like I see this concept, it's almost like an airport of like, okay, you've got a chakra and it's like this spiral lens thing that's wide or small, and then you have someone standing there who's like the ticket agent, and it's like check everything that's coming in, like, okay, you're going here, like you're going to terminal 6, like you're going to this one, and each of these like wings of the airport or something, or gates are informing different like physical parts of the body, like the pancreas is one of them, or like particular belief systems. It's like it's not necessarily ruled by physicality or energetic space. It's just like all sorts of different things. It's like an international airport. But if this is blown and it's so wide, this doesn't hold up in this. It's like they can't see who's coming in. They're not seeing. If someone is coming in with bags, who's like, I'm headed for the pancreas, like the pancreas needs to see this information, whatever. And it's like either the gate agent or the pancreas like someone is not seeing that people are coming through. So they're like, open it wider. We need more information for the pancreas or something like that.
So is that I'm understanding, like if it's open wide, it's needing the more of whatever it's lack of.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's not really a lack of. I think it's just not seeing it, you know, or not receiving it in the right way. It's like saying, like, okay, everyone who comes through with a red hat is going to the pancreas, right? But really, they're accidentally sending everyone with the red hat over to the liver or something like that. It's like it's being misdirected, or, you know, there's some miscommunication in the body that can happen like in a million different places along the line of, because there's just so many places. But I'm getting that there's this concept of lack or needing more of, or this almost empty pit, and it can be informed by trauma, right? If we are not heard as children, that throat chakra might be huge, and we just might be so angry and yelling all the time or something, or like being super duper vocal, but it's still not hitting the numbers, right? Whoever's like checking at that gate is like, this is not enough. It's not landing. Like we're not getting the response that we need. And that's where there are a few things that need to happen. Like you can open or close that chakra, you can close it down, but that might not still solve the challenge of something's being misfiled, someone's being misdirected, like something's going on. And this is why it's important to have, I'm hearing like guides or doctors, whether those are people or spirit beings, of folks who are like pulling in the full adjustment, you know? But a blown chakra very much feels like need, want, like dilating the pupil. And sometimes it is necessary to have a large influx in an area, but the problem is when we leave the gate open past the time it needs to be open, or we leave the gate smaller past the time it needs to be, past the point of threat, past the point of need. That's where we get overwhelmed and oversaturated and overexposed. It's like if you have a dilated pupil, or like if you have too much, if you are a photographer and you're taking pictures and the lens is letting in too much light, all your pictures are overexposed, you know, like it's taxing on the body. It's blown out. You're not getting a true accurate representation of your environment. And therefore the information that's getting shared is probably not super accurate too. Like if I take a picture of you with way too much light, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that this is you. But if we're playing a game of telephone and I was like gonna make a sketch from that, it'd be totally different than if I got a well exposed picture of you that I was making a sketch from. This is the same thing with the energetic body, and part of the value of bringing everything together, but just knowing that shift and change, like it needs to equilibrate. There is going to be natural like ripples and waves on the surface, but yeah, this is a huge topic. This is a big, yeah. Was there another part of your question?
Yeah, what's make chakras align and what's not?
Yeah. This feels like trust in alignment. Trust begets alignment. This trust in receiving. When there is misalignment, I'm hearing that it's this concept of someone like balancing on a ball and holding a plate over here and over here and here. And it's this concept of you like really contorting yourself to get the needs met or to sustain your experience within life. Whether that's like juggling and balancing in a way to make your external reality look a certain way. Whether that's you putting out energy or whether that's you receiving energy of like, I have to make myself do this, that, and the other thing in order to receive all my needs. Either way, whether you're giving or you're receiving, this misalignment is coming from a lack of trust in the integrity of your own experience and alignment. Having clear alignment is very much like that understanding that it's coming to you. And that, does this make sense? Like that? No.
Not really.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Ask your question one more time.
So when they did this measurement, like some people came out with all their chakras in line, or they'll say it's 98 or whatever, 95% in line, and you can see like it'll be in line, your chakras. But then some, like was few people who show their readings and like their chakras would be even out of their physical body, like it's so unaligned. And like I'm just wondering what makes it in line, like how can you keep them in line, and what makes them to go out of alignments?
Yeah, it definitely is trust. Although I am seeing now the things that can pop them out of like there are different things that can pop them out of alignment, but it can be boiled down to trust of like whether it's something that scared that chakra outside of your body, like so much pain in the heart that the heart chakra doesn't even want to be in the body because it's just so, there was a painful experience and there is a built belief and reality, personal reality now that to even have a heart is painful, to even have this experience is painful. So it's almost like it's scared out of the body. And there's a lack of trust that remaining in the body is safe and is going to meet your need to receive and to express in the correct way. And it's going to meet that need because we all have a need to express, but also to receive. Like there is an in and out flow, I feel, of each of these energy centers, and even just kind of like an existingness and a networking with all of the others. Yeah. It can be for different reasons, but it boils down to trust. And that this alignment, it's kind of like if you line your baskets up right, we catch like manna from the heavens of like, I see if they're like little basketball hoops, like each of the chakras are basketball hoops, if they're all lined up, you can get one basketball and it will fall through all of them. And it's like, that was easy, you know, and like if you have tickers on each of them that are counting the numbers, like tick, 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 it hits them all, you know? And it's this concept. I mean, it's also, for some, it's a concept of each of these needs can be met with the same piece of energy. And that's part of it too, of like, if you can't trust the energy that you're receiving to be good for all the parts of you, like you probably shouldn't be receiving that energy. And so that's another reason that these energy centers can flee from the body, right? If something feels good here, here, and here, but bad here, here, and here, like these ones are going to try and scatter, you know, because there's an intelligence of the energetic body, like correcting and balancing itself. Yeah.
Is that like a protective mechanism?
Yeah. There's
the energy that's maybe okay here, but it may not be okay further. So they just kind of get out of alignment, so the energy can't flow further.
Yeah. This is part of the like almost denying self, because if that energy went through those spaces, you'd feel pain in those spaces, and those spaces could close, and like one could be open. I see one being open further, so it falls through this one, but not this one, right? But the whole idea is to have them relatively the same size. Oh, that's not always true. Yeah, have them like kind of closer to the same size. But there is an intelligence that lives in the energetic body of like, it's gonna continue to serve you. It's that kind of the subconscious kind of has been a filter between us and the energetic body, and it's time to kind of like complete that triangle to not have the subconscious be a go-between, because it'll run the show based off of bad data, so to speak, outdated things, truths and beliefs that were created from a snapshot in time that are no longer relevant. You know, it's like using an old picture for a dating profile. You know, it's like, yeah, that was me, but it's not the me now. It's very different. Yes, that was my trauma. That was my belief system, but it's not the me now. And I need to update my systems to represent that, because I'm not going to get the right stuff coming to me. I'm not going to attract the right person if I'm not presenting the most accurate information. Yeah. There is a lot of protection with the energetic body. The opportunity we have now is to reconnect and kind of like step back to the helm and building a relationship and directing that energy again. Yeah. Does that clear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you, let's say that you do a visualization where you run energy through your chakras,
Yeah.
does that impact your energetic body?
This I'm seeing is like, you know, when you like do a test print on a printer, like to see if you're, you check the color levels, but it's also checking like something in it of like, are they all lined up the right way? It's the same sort of thing. It's like, it's like a test. It's like feeding particular information in and then seeing what you get out, and like kind of seeing it can realign it It can give you information. This is the same thing to know with the scans and reads, is that they are a snapshot in time, and it can change quite a bit based on your emotional experience in the moment. Yeah, it's like a test print though. And I get the sense that while it does kind of like jostle it back into correction a little bit, a more thorough way of conducting that would be to ask for alignment after, like run the test, ask for alignment, do it again, see how it comes back different, you know? Like if you take your car in for an alignment, they probably are going to like test it first, then make physical adjustments, and then test it again to see how it came back at the end of it. And it might not be perfect. Like it's okay to like overcompensate in the other direction a little bit. The point of it is building rapport, building relationship, and just continuing to open the dialogue, because I feel like the biggest importance is not necessarily like how big or small your chakras are, but how nimble they are at responding to the environment.
When I have a panic attack or I'm really stressed out, that's how I handle it. That's how I take care of my whatever I'm feeling, or get back into some type of a feeling that I feel more in control.
Yeah.
I just visualize energy moving through my chakras, and then move it a little bit further outward and further downward, and
Yeah.
just run the energy back and forth through from the earth and outward, and until I feel like I can breathe again. And
Yeah.
I feel like I can take control of things again.
This is an additional thing of it also is confirming receipt at each energy center, or confirming it's giving a base nugget to each of them. It's like if you're bottoming out on electrolytes, or it's like running a little bit through. So if one space is bottoming out, it at least has a little bit of something that went through it. If something is closed completely and you visualize that, it kind of like, it's like that if we're following like the airport thing in TSA, it's like having security escort someone to the gate, or escort someone through that door, saying like, this is definitely going in there, which can be helpful in a crisis experience, because if something is perhaps all the way closed, or even if something's all the way open too, it's intentionally resetting the ticker to like one in, one out, so to speak.
I found it very effective for myself.
Yeah. That's great.
But I feel it. I have a physical sensation of the energy flowing through each chakra as I'm doing it. I physically feel the energy entering into my crown and leaving the root chakra, and then coming back and going back and forth. I can physically feel it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if somebody else want to ask, but I have a whole load of questions.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll do yours next, and then we'll check in and see if anyone. We'll make sure everyone. Yeah.
So, crazy question. Do we have like a energy body of entire humanity, and like at one point, one time, and if somebody's energy changes, does it influence the whole humanity?
Yes. There is, and this is information that I have received before. So there's a network through each of our chakras are connected. It's a network, and they're connected at each of the centers individually, like each of these levels, and just like, is it aspen or birch or I think it's aspen, the trees that are not individual trees but are really one organism, and they just kind of branch up from a network underneath. And with the network underneath, like if there is a section that is experiencing something going on, or like there's a disease in a certain area, everything around it will send extra nutrients that way. It works the same way with our energies of, they are all connected, they are all attached in a way. But it's like multiple nets, because it's like all of our heart chakras are connected, and we are the thread that connects all of these layers together. It's not like my third eye is connected to your heart or something like that. Our third eyes are all connected. And this is part of the like tuning process of spending particular time with particular people. We can acclimate, and this is part of the importance of recentering and rehoming ourselves, especially if we don't spend time with a balanced amount of people, or like a balanced smattering of people, or if you spend time around a few particular people and are all pulled in a particular direction. Does that make sense? Of like, like if there's often a family will experience, like if there's a family of folks who are living together who have a lot of like heart pain, there's likely a child that will be born into that group or area that will be an expander for those folks, because, and it's the same sort of thing where, like with the trees, of like they'll send information in, and that's a lot of like how children are born and created. It's like they're responding to a call of imbalances in areas, an imbalance that has become so great that it's seeking a physical remedy, or a remedy at the that's rooted at the physical level. And this is part of the support of like healing one will heal all. But there is a really valuable importance to that. Each individual person, that you as an individual person and you as an individual person, you have a thread. Your thread is connecting all of your centers. And so it's kind of like, if we're working with the heart chakra here, is it really impacting the sacral? Yes, it is, because each of our, like, as it pulls here, like it's pulling me in this particular way, and I'm, rebalancing within my own system, and then that balances out other systems. It's like kind of wild, like a web. If you pull a web at this place, it kind of comes around here, and then it's like multiple webs on top of each other that are all connected.
Kind of like how when women all work together, I think their menstrual cycles will all sync up so that they all have their period at the same time. Would that be kind of something like that? Because you're saying all the chakras, so that would kind of explain why that happens with women, the energetic changes or the hormonal changes that women share.
Yeah, that I'm seeing is like a massive like communal purging of when women come together. I'm seeing like it at that point, it's purging collective consciousness.
Interesting.
But I see what you're saying of like the power of intentionally working together, of group work in with these particular tools and access points, if you will. Yeah. I want to check in with the folks who haven't asked questions yet. Is anyone wanting to throw in, or?
What's the relationship between the physical body, the energy body, and the soul?
Oh, that's a great question. Ask that one more time.
The relationship between the physical body, the energy body, and the soul. Mm-hmm. Kind of like on what realms do they all work together, and how do they work together across realms?
Yeah, they can, absolutely. I feel like the soul is this space that threads through each of us. I feel the physical body is the most rooted in a particular vibration frequency range, right? It's like very honed in on a frequency range. The energy body can travel in frequency and is like much larger. It overlaps with the physical body, but it can spread to other places. And the soul is this thread that connects the two. It always flows through both. There's no way for it to not flow through both, because the soul is what anchors us to the collection. Yeah. I was about to bring in source, but I don't think it's important in this case.
Did you say source?
Source or God or...
That's what I'm wondering, is the energy bodies from the physical realm and like the astral realm, not actually the direct connection to source like the soul is. That's what I was kind of getting at, actually.
The soul is the direct connection to realm, but you're totally right in that while the energy body is dispatched, I get the sense that everything is dispatched, or at least is tied back to, we're going to say the collection in this case. The energy body is just, like the soul is like the thread, this like, and they say like the silver thread, that is the soul. And the physical body is an anchor, and the energetic body can move between the two. But it's like this, it's almost like static clinging to the line of if it is traveling up this way, it clings to the soul. The soul becomes more important in informing the energetic body on where it can be. There is this concept also that the energetic body will always be tethered to the physical body during life, which is part of our ability to get information and receive it here, because the physical body is the anchor, and the energy body climbs up the soul line, so to speak, and can go and get higher perspectives or different grasp from different realms of consciousness. And then if you consider time, I think there are layers of these, because I feel like the soul, I'm seeing like bodies are like beads on the soul, physical bodies. And it's almost like this soul can live through, there can be, because time can be like a layer cake, or like it's like a sponge cake, or you know those cakes that go into rolls or something? It's like cake that can be layered like this. And so if the cake is reality, our soul can come through and have multiple bodies. Like our soul can inhabit multiple bodies at the same time. Because what is time? And this is this concept of like the energetic body will touch and cling to this soul cord, and then can spread out from there as it needs to. But it's easier, I'm seeing it spread out like this, and then be like less of it touching the soul cord, so to speak. And then if it like is collected back, it's like more of it is congregated around the soul cord. Does that visual make sense?
Mm-hmm.
it's like those things they spin, and it's like a stick, and the more you spin them, it's like they will make a circle, but the more you spin them faster, they will become more flat, and then slower they will become more like this. And it's the same sort of concept.
All time is simultaneous.
Yeah, I don't know, a great representation of that layer cake thing is, it's somehow the soul thread. There's only one soul thread. There seems to be multiple layers of time, though. It seems that time is the one bending, but it also could be our perspective too, because I could see it's like if you flip it on its side or something like that, it can look very different. And it can look like the soul thread is stitching through time. And that time, if we think that time is linear, then it would look like the soul is stitching through time. I get the sense that it's like if you were sewing it, and have you ever made, if you're sewing and you make gathers, or not pleats, but if you make gathers, you do a loose like running stitch through a piece of fabric, and then you pull the thread and you scooch the fabric together so it's like wrinkled up like that. It's that same sort of thing where you can kind of like, or like curtains running through a rod, right? You can bunch the curtains up and you can pull them out. And it's the same sort of thing. The curtain rod is the soul rope, and then the curtain is time. They're just different perspectives. But the souls are the one like running through the experience. Yeah, I guess it depends on perspective. Yeah. Cool question.
Cool answer.
It's wild. Yeah, it's just neat. I love getting to hear the things. I love getting to hear the things. I love the questions that you guys ask, because I'm like, this is great. I want to know these things too. Yeah. Anyone else who hasn't got to ask a question or hasn't got to ask a lot have any more?
I have a question. Can you talk about children and their energetic bodies?
Yeah. Yeah. I see them being like very bright and like, although not all of them, I see that there's like a dark and stormy experience. Is there anything in particular about children's energetic bodies that you want to touch in on, or?
Well, I have two children. One is 4 and one is 15. So my oldest, I feel like she's already pretty much an adult, almost. So she's closer to me, I guess. But my son is very little, and I don't know if I should do anything as a mother, help them to, I don't know, keep their energetic bodies healthy or work with them. I don't know. Just would like some guidance, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, there's probably a lot that you could learn from them, just because the energy, every soul, every energy body is going to have a different experience for sure. But the information, like this concept of like the point of minting, like these energy bodies being created or separating from source, there's a freshness that kids bring because their energy bodies most recently have been in collective space often. Although there is this concept of this soul thread punching through time, like this concept of a soul being in a body dying, and not necessarily going back into source, but going to another body, like life to life, back to back. So that's kind of an exception, but more often than not, there's an energetic rest and restore time between that kids are bringing in a freshness of information that we could probably learn, like glean a lot from their energy practices, and almost having our energy bodies match theirs might be the most healthy way to support them, because the information and the practices that they are bringing, learning, and teaching are the freshest. It's the most up to date. So the best way you could support your kids is to match your energetic cleanliness to theirs almost. This is taking pointers and habits from the rest and play actions that they do and create, and allowing our experiences to also follow these rest and play energetic experiences. Yeah. I think almost that bearing witness feels like the most helpful thing, because I get the concept that even them learning to interact with their environment, they're going to figure out a more effective way to do it than you would almost, you know? Physical bodies is where you can be. That's where most of the teaching parent to child should happen, is with physical reality. But as far as energetic reality, the most helpful thing we can do is learn from them. And it's this sort of giving and taking of giving physical based information that they don't have, because they don't have that, but receiving energetic information. And that can create this sort of cycle of like natural balance and give and take. So I would say tune in as much as you can to your kids' energetic bodies, because that's the best way to teach your energy how to do something or how to exist in a space. There's a freshness and a lightness there that we could all really benefit from. And I think only the rare case of someone experiencing, and if someone is experiencing a back-to-back life, it's because their energy body has a youthfulness that can sustain another life, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's likely, not always, but it's likely that unless we have kept quite a young energy body and like really practiced the youthfulness of our energy bodies, that a child's energy body is going to be more youthful than ours, probably. Though not in every case. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
I think so.
Yeah. I'm gonna check in on time. Where we're at. Oh my goodness. Okay. We are farther than I thought we were. Are there any last questions before? Yeah.
I was kind of curious on not just our energy bodies, but kind of like getting information you tell us on us accidentally taking energy from other people. Like unintentionally, but sometimes, you know how sometimes somebody will walk into a room and the energy's just like sucked out of the room.
Yeah.
But I was curious on, you know.
Yeah. There's, I heard right away that this is not possible, that it takes a form of consent. And this is coming from a space that parallels a little bit of what was coming up before, of this sometimes consent, like we can sign blank checks of consent, of like that example that you gave of someone coming in and the energy being sucked out of the room. And if we are feeling our energy being depleted, it is important to find the space where, if our energy was depleted, find the space where we gave consent, because it's not possible without consent. Somehow there is a willingness to give in that experience that slipped through the cracks or slipped beneath our conscious radar, but is one of those, there must be something in our body, like an if-then thing that's set up of, if someone comes in with this particular need, then I will respond in this particular way every time, or something like that. And it might be time to amend or revise that. Because I get that there's, and this is again a part of the particular importance of working with our energetic bodies, because I feel like the subconscious is informing the energetic body in a lot of these ways and the subconscious, while always trying to do as best as it can for us, can hold some not true things in there that the subconscious has decided is true. Things that slipped in when we were quite young and our conscious minds weren't fully developed, or things that we told ourselves based off of generational or historical thingies, for lack of a better word. But I'm getting like that concept of, and it will take, like if you revisit that situation with control of your energetic body, and I'm like seeing like reins on the horses, right? It's taking the reins of the horses again, so they don't necessarily run off in this particular direction, because they always have done that. And this is the thing, is that our energetic bodies can be highly suggestible too. That's something that can vary from person to person, but it's worth making note of. If our energetic bodies are super suggestible, or like, they say like, if one person yawns and then everyone yawns, like that's a suggestible thing. Energetic bodies, if we don't always keep an eye on them, can be quite suggestible, quite like children, If you come around in the right way and ask you're like, oh, doesn't it sound good to go get some ice cream? Like, yeah, that would be great. It's like, wait a second. Do you know this person? They're a stranger. This is, something like that. It's worth checking in our, our operation of consent, where we give consent.
Is that the same way as like, even if I'm not intending to pull someone else's energy for myself unintentionally, does that work for that as well? Just consenting before I go in somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I think that's how things run underneath the radar, because it's not just you, it's you and the other person, There's energetic boundaries at both, there are points of consent in both individuals. And I'm seeing that we can make asks and needs that we don't realize that we're making, It's like you can show up in a particular way that's not apparent to you, but can be someone else can see that it's apparent to them, or someone else can not see that it's apparent, but can just meet your energetic need without that going through their consciousness either. And that's where the challenge is, I think, of like, people are running based off of their energy bodies are interacting in ways and creating balance that our physical bodies are not aware of and are not perhaps in alignment with, for what we're wanting to do and create and, happen in the world. So it's really a balance of our physical bodies and our energetic bodies to kind of keep things in line, because without, we go back to the image of that, like, that soul tether and this physical body that's like running around, and getting that opening imagery again, right? Of like the tassels, you know, the shower head with the tassels and those strings. Like if all those tassels are each of our soul points, right? We want to make sure that our physical body is creating as much alignment as possible, right? And not like way over here and this one's way over there and this one's way over there, because then this tassel is kind of like all knotted up and it's not looking so good, and energy is like kind of dipping and weaving, and it's back to that necklace that's knotted that needs to be loosened and unthreaded. This concept of the physical body is an anchor, and we can move our physical bodies, and then our energetic body just like runs up and down this thread, runs up and down the tether. And if we're not mindful of it, it can pull our physical body in certain ways because it is getting needs met. I feel like our energetic bodies, they're getting energetic needs met that we are perhaps not aware of. And the best thing we can do is bring awareness to them, because then we're consciously, it's like we're working on the same team, we're communicating, you know? It's like if you're on a soccer team and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this and you're going to do that, or you know, it's like, or tennis, like you're working with doubles, and it's always helpful if you can move kind of in tandem, or at least intentionally. And that's what this bridged awareness of both is helpful and important, because the physical body, if the physical body doesn't like spending time around another person, and it doesn't feel good, it brings, physical body knows that it is not in soul alignment when it's with this other person or it's around this other person. It can kind of pull and shift and change in particular ways in order to give more structure to that energetic effervescence that's hanging out on the soul line. Is that clear? Yeah. Makes sense, yeah. Very cool.
May I ask one more question?
Yeah.
So she mentioned like when a person walks in and kind of sucks the energy out. What about those people like, you know, sometimes they call it like energy vampires?
Yes.
Like that doesn't matter who they talk to, like they drain their energy.
Yeah.
Like what to do with those people, and you know.
Yeah, that is another form. Like I'm seeing that person is like feeling like a case of, I don't know, I'd be interested to see what the scan showed, but I'm seeing like they have blown chakras. It's like a black pit almost. And like all the energy that goes through there, it's not enough. And so their energy body is constantly making an ask for like more, I need this, I need support. And then our energy bodies do want to equilibrate, like they absolutely do. So if my energy body is just hanging out and sees this one, it's like, I'm in need. I'm like, okay, here you go. You know, here's the things. And then it's like, but the equilibrium is never hitting. It's like, if the person sitting at that gate of the chakra is like not getting the counts, like then even the energy that I send, that I'm like counting out, so to speak, not counting out, I don't know if that's, it's just, there's a pull. And there is an important, I see this like two-pronged effort here of like the soul tie always connects you with the collective. So you can always, there's endless energy. It feels like you can pull and more, it will recycle. So there's tweaking our understanding of like, if I'm in the presence of an energy vampire, what I can do is just, I mean, I can build walls and I can reform my consent and say, I'm unwilling to participate in this exchange right now. And I can also like give energy, but be pulling it straight from source, be pulling it straight from the collective. And then I am just a conduit. I am not giving of myself. I'm not dispatching my energy horses that I will then miss. I am giving an unlimited stream. And that's kind of a wild thing of if this person has a blown chakra, right? They have need, right? There's this need. And it's like they're used to having a vacuum cleaner that's on and like never picking up enough stuff. And like if I am a large enough conduit, and this is where we can practice opening and closing and like working with our flows and stuff like that. But if I am a large enough conduit, it's like that vacuum cleaner will be full. It can't suck up anymore. Like it, you know, there's this concept that might not change that person's experience, but it's likely to give them a chance at revising or at least revisiting that blown need, like that blown chakra. Because it's like, whoa, I'm getting everything, I'm getting it all. But this is a thing, we only have the capacity to be really clear. To sustain that flow through us, it almost takes our own alignment and fulfillment too. Not entirely, but it's easiest and more readily sustained. But then, I don't know. It seems challenging also sometimes, because if that person is not getting the realization and then you build a relationship that you are a font of youth, so to speak, energetically, it can create it can create a dynamic that is perhaps not helping you. And not helping that person if this person is not realizing that you're only mirroring their capabilities. That's truly the ideal of giving them an unlimited flow, so that way they can understand that they have this unlimited flow in them too. You're just showing them a way to do it. It's the same thing of receiving this information, like being a conduit for this information is something that we are all capable of. It's just, we like having the reminders of seeing it in different ways, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Right, y'all. Unless there are any other burning questions, I'm feeling like I'm gonna close the records. Are we feeling complete? Okay. All right. In love and light. I thank our masters, teachers, and loved ones for their information and guidance. Amen, amen, amen. The records are closed. I'm seeing that tassel from the beginning kind of like jiggling and just making waves, like almost like ramen noodle shape. And then like twirling this way and twirling that way. There is something to be said for working with group. Yes, okay. Working with group. Like all of our soul cords collected together kind of creates this tassel, so to speak, right? If there are 8 of us here, it's like a tassel of 8 strings, and there is something to be said for moving in particular ways and like stretching capabilities, and then I see almost all these ropes twist and make a oh gosh, you know how like ropes are twisted and they're twisted from many smaller strings that make a larger rope, and it's like they twist in certain direction. It's almost like a maypole, like a dance of that, but that the braiding and the collection of these cords, there's something about like strength in numbers and pulling down greater amounts of information than 1 or 2 strings can sustain. I think that's the whole like the group perspective on information exchange.